for his benefit as well. Let's take it to some more lingering questions. Herc, I'm going to start with you on this one. Luckily, we don't have to make all of these decisions. But which manager has the firmest grip on his team 50 days out? Poch, Aguirre, or Marsh?
I love this question. I really do, because you can go so many different ways with this question. Which manager do you think has the firmest grip? Does he know his starting 11? Oh, I could see it that way. Does he have control of his team? His players are in line. They listen to him. Oh, I could see it that way. Are there less doubts about his style of play, about him as a manager? Oh, I could see it that way. So I'm going to encompass everything. And when I do, out of the three, I'm going to go with Javier Aguirre, because I look at Mexico and it looks like Javier is always kind of known who his 11 is, or at least the spine was. We've always heard these reports, even when there was a goalkeeping battle. It's not really a battle. Tala Rangel is the preferred goalkeeper. We've always heard these different things. Cesar Montes, about his level, well, that's not an issue. He sees Cesar Montes and Johan Vazquez. We've always heard these different things about who the duo will be in center midfield. He knew it was going to be Marcel. Now, there are injury concerns. Right. That's not up to him. Right. He knows it's going to be Gilberto Mora. And then we have the other thing. Who's going to be the number 9? We've always known it's going to be Raul Jimenez. And then, while others would say, oh, it has to be Santi Jimenez, well, here comes Javier Aguirre, and it's like, yeah, but this guy talking about La Hormiga Gonzalez is doing well, and so is Bertarami. He's always kind of been one step ahead. And if you look at the team, this is a team that regained Gold Cup. They regained the Nations. Well, they didn't regain. They finally gained the Nations League. Right. Out of the last FIFA fixture window, they did well against top quality opposition in Estadio Azteca against Portugal, in Chicago against Belgium. You look at Canada and where they are with some of their injury concerns. You look at Jesse Marsh, and listen, Jesse Marsh will tell you it was very difficult not having to know exactly who you were going to play against. This whole time he thought he was going to play against Italy. That goes out the window. It's Bosnia-Herzegovina, So it feels like who's got more control of their situation right now out of the three. And I did not even mention Pochettino, which is its own can of worms. Yeah. It's Javier Aguirre.
I think it's Jesse Marsh.
Okay.
I just feel that this Canadian national team has taken on Jesse Marsh's identity. His fingerprints are everywhere on this team. And to Herc's point about you can interpret this any number of ways. Let's say of these three teams, they get a punch in the mouth opening game of the tournament. Who is able to manage the dressing room, the press, the fans, the best in that circumstance?
Crisis management.
I think it's Jesse Marsh.
Okay.
Because of who he is and because of what he stands for with this Canadian men's national team. I just feel he's the one who ultimately will be questioned the least during the course of this tournament. And maybe that's because, as I said before, the lowest of expectations of the three host nations is on Canada.
So you mentioned Pochettino being the can of worms in this situation. And I say all that to bring up our stats here, which are very telling. So in 20 games, the U.S. has one lineup that's been used 3 times, another one 2 times, and 15 other lineups have been used once. In 21 games for Mexico, no lineup has been used twice. And in 16 games for Canada, no lineup has been used twice. Not to totally counter what both of you just said, because I understand it. But does this tell you anything about Pochettino, Herc?
Well, it tells me something about all 3 teams. They didn't do a World Cup qualifying process. That's what it tells me. Because when you have to actually play for something, a World Cup qualifying process, you're going to have an 11. You're going to have a core. They didn't have to. So, like I mentioned with Javier Aguirre, if the manager feels all along he knows what the core is, he knows who his 11 is, then he could try players, And then, injuries as well. Injuries will be part of this game, so you've got to move things around. And it has been not just in CONCACAF, but in world football. The amount of injuries in the last, I'd say, 18 months that I have seen is off the charts. And it's the amount of games that are being played. It's the amount of different tournaments that are being brought in. It's the amount of, travel that's being displayed by these players and where they apply their trade at the club level and where they play at the national team. It all accumulates, but it also, adds context to why you're seeing such few repeating lineups.
Shaq?
Yeah, I fully agree. And not only try players, try partnerships. Do I switch out my 2 centre-backs and see how they work together as opposed to one in front of the other. I'm with Herc. I think Herc absolutely nailed this. You can tell when, it's when it doesn't matter, when points aren't on the table, you can try things and have a look at one thing or another.
Yeah, and especially with the injuries that we've seen with Canada, with the injuries that we've seen, especially with Mexico and their most important players at the European level, who we know either haven't been able to make all of camps because it was decided that way or because the injuries have truly gotten in the way. So, of course, that makes sense. Let's get to our last question. To me, this one is also truly, truly fascinating. Herc, I'm going to start with you.
Do we have to?
Yes. Or do you want to kick it to Shaq?
No.
All right.
I'm game.
Which host nation is the most ready to host the World Cup?
This is such an unfair question for all the countries.
Yeah.
And my immediate instinct says pick Canada. Why Canada? Because it's a team I've heard less problems about. It's a federation I've heard less problems about when it comes to hosting their tournament. I also do not live in Canada. My worlds cross on a daily basis more in the United States and in Mexico. And certainly to, I would say, the exterior, to the rest of the world, when you hear about World Cup problems, you're hearing about things that are happening in the United States and you hear about things that are happening in Mexico. I am sure that is not a reflection of society. I'm sure that is not a reflection of actual problems, but it is a perception that is circulating around for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I would say one of the biggest culprits to that, in their eyes, would be the United States. I don't hear as much about Canada. I don't know if that's just because it's not a sexy pick, or I don't know if that's because they're really taking care of their business. I think it's such an unfair reality of today that the perception plays a big part in how the rest of the world sees this tournament. There is no perfect World Cup. There is no perfect host. I'm not going to be hypocritical here and sit here and talk to you about everything that's gone on in the past, and I wouldn't go to this country. I was in Qatar. I was in Russia. I would have loved to have been in Brazil. I played in South Africa. This is the world we live in today, and I do not know, out of the three, realistically, who's the most capable or most ready.
Shaq?
I have that same feeling. My world doesn't intersect anywhere. But I
This is why we need you. Third-party perspective.
And maybe Herc or you, Christina, can guide me better or differently on this. I want to feel it's Mexico. And I want to feel that way because between the USA and Canada, we understand the sporting landscape in both those countries well, as we do in Mexico. Mexico is a football country. And so while, to Herc's point, there's never a perfect host, there's never a perfect World Cup, I just feel that the way the public will take up this tournament, I want to feel that will be the best experience. Now, in terms of who's the best prepared, again, similarly, we can use any number of measures. But just given that Mexico has already hosted 2 World Cups, given how the public will warm to this tournament, I want to feel it's Mexico.
I understand why both of you said Canada and Mexico. I'm too inclined that way, but because we've seen the day-to-day of all the news lately in the United States with the tickets and even the recent, prices being a little bit low and all of that chaos that's been going around, $150 to get from Penn Station to MetLife Stadium. Ticket sales being low. Yeah, ticket sales being low. No, ticket prices as well that were recently lowered in the next they allocated different ones. But I think why the United States maybe isn't getting the proper representation, because we know that this is also a country that is ready and that in the past has proven to know how to host a World Cup. Granted, the world has changed very much since 1994. But I think we're not inclined to say the United States because...
Perception.
Well, perception, and because a lot of the games are going to be played in the U.S. So the responsibility is greater, right?
I think similarly there's more uncertainty that's been piled on the U.S., maybe because it's the U.S. is hosting more games.
And because the U.S. wanted it that way, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, they're hosting the most games by a long
and the
shot.
final.
So you take that. But also, and maybe FIFA has a lot to do with accept some of the blame here, but to your point, kind of shifting in ticket prices. Different cities talk. You mentioned the transportation costs going from cities to wherever these stadiums are
The
on
fan
the
fest
outskirts.
being
It
expensive or
feels, and this is my concern. The World Cup, certainly viewing it, is a fan-driven exercise.
Agreed.
And in the US, and again, I'm far more exposed to things as they develop, as they come out to the US. It feels more corporate, more profit-driven. And that, for me, is where the disconnect is.
I don't disagree that it feels corporate or profit-driven, but I think this is one of the few countries in the world where it could also hopefully feel inclusive. And I say that in the best possible way. The accumulation of different heritages that already reside within the United States and the nostalgia that comes with watching your national team. It's one of the few countries in the world that if tomorrow there needed to be a major event, could probably host it. It could probably host it because you said it's fan-driven. It's when it comes to being fan-driven, it's not just the game day experience. It's hotel stays, transportation, it's facilities, it's all kinds, airports, it's all kinds of different factors. I don't know the in and outs about the contracts and how Canada got what they got, how Mexico got what they got, and how the U.S. got what they got. What I do know is when it comes to trying to take on such an event, there are a few countries in the world that could possibly take on something like the U.S. has taken on.
But at the same time, while yes, the inclusivity of having it here in the U.S. Potentially unmatched to anywhere else in the world, but a radius of a mile around the stadium is all World Cup driven. You go another mile outside of that, people have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
wondering why there's so much traffic.
of course. Of course.
And that's my concern.
Yeah.
You know, and why I picked Mexico, because the entire country is going to be engaged, 100% engaged. Whereas in the US, again, you wander 2 miles away from the stadium and nobody knows what's going on.
I mean, if you want to talk about traffic, Mexico City is very much used to it.
Yeah. I
much
just
used to
mentioned
it.
traffic because
Listen, if we're talking about atmospheres, you're not going to find a more wild or just entertaining atmosphere than the World Cup in Mexico.
I agree.
It's going to be an insane party. I just saying there's different factors that come with the hosting.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. What we obviously hope, and I think I speak for the three of us, is that all our concerns just get completely thrown out the window and we just enjoy what's on.
We had similar concerns in Qatar, and
I feel this. We'll complain about one thing or the next, going into every single tournament. It's too corporate. Stadiums are too far. Once the first whistle goes, we are going to be we are going to be so immersed and love every single minute of it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Even if we get little sleep, it is a World Cup, and we will be for sure 100% locked in. As ESPN FC will be locked in there, Shaq.
Yes, we will.
And for now, it is also available daily on ESPN+.